Okay, there we go.
Okay, well, welcome to the 46th annual, is it? Ham meeting. So I am just going to go down the list that I have on for participants. Nathaniel, I guess you'll go first.
Sounds good. I usually show up on the top of the list because I'm the host here, according to Zoom. It has been a crazy busy week and continues to be crazy busy. I've been working, trying to just continue to work on the Hamsci workshop with all sorts of details. The abstracts either are coming in, or I know of abstracts that after Wednesday, if they don't show up, I will be soliciting them directly from people, because we started building the program up last week. So that is coming along. Some people have started making their travel arrangements for the Hamsci workshop, which is really good. We've seen progress on all the different projects. Most of it's good. There are always some little hangups and things with not being able to get parts and random stuff like that. Classes have started, so I'm teaching a space physics class and a communication systems class this semester, keeping me busy but quite fun. I guess that's it. Just continuing going on everything. So W2NF, back to net.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Nathaniel. Next is Dan. I forgot to say Nathaniel's call sign, but we'll get that next time. So Dan, N4XWE, your turn.
Okay, thank you, Dylan. Worked a little bit on scripts this week. Bill sent me an email message saying that one of the scripts kind of memories out on a 4 gig Pi. I was not aware of that. I've had some issues with FLDigi exceeding the memory requirements on anything under 8 gig, but anyway, got it sorted out. Did a little minor modification to the script, and if anybody knows a way to identify a Pi so I could do a conditional statement to make it automatically install, I would be up for that. So far, I've not looked really hard, but I've not found a way to do that. Anyway, that's about it from here. Back to you, Dylan.
Well, thank you for that, Dan. Michael Neruda, AA8K.
Well, thank you. Greetings to everyone listening. Back to you, Dylan.
Awesome. Greetings to you too. Bill Engelke. Engelke? Guys,
you got it
probably
right.
That one.
You got it right the first time.
Okay.
Engelke, yeah. Sorry, my call sign isn't there. Call sign is Alpha Bravo 4 Echo Juliet, and the my ID is set by the university, and I can't change it. So, and they won't let me put my call sign in there. So, isn't that bizarre? I worked quite a bit on cleaning up the permanent version of the grape that does DRF. I'm trying to get it to run under the latest version of Ubuntu, which is 22.04.1 long-term support. And I finally, after many hours of work, I concluded that it's not going to be possible to really use the Adafruit GPS with this system. Really, the primary thing I was using to get the lat and long, which really doesn't change, so people can key that in. Plus, it's associated with the station ID anyway, and to get the time, but you can install NTP and get a time that's just about as accurate as getting it off the GPS when you start your data collection. So rather than fooling around with the Adafruit and all of the horrific level of complexity that goes with trying to get that to run under the latest version of Ubuntu, I'm going to punt on that. If somebody is clever enough to get that working, my hat is off to them. But anyway, so as far as this project, that's the main thing I've accomplished this week. So back to Nat.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Bill. And the next person will be Bob and 5BRG.
Hello, Dylan and Annette. Just checking in to see what's happening here tonight. Working on inventory and some parts so I can find things to construct some boards that I'm working on here. But other than that, just trying to stay warm with the cooler weather we're having here. Back to you, Dylan.
Nice. Okay, and next we have Dan, N4XWE.
Dylan, I think you already called on me.
Maybe I did. Never mind.
Forgot to say something.
Next is David McGaw, N1HAC, if David's there.
Good evening to everyone on the net. Been very, picking away at various projects here. But one thing I just was picking up on is an interesting phenomenon at 20 meters. I'm getting some rapid fading going on. And I think there's maybe a minor geomagnetic storm, though it doesn't show up on the KP so much. But if you look at magnetometers, they've been jumping a bit today. Had a little bit of BZ negative earlier, but close in, I'm listening to CHU and also W1AW is transmitting some of their code right now. Both are near field signals and there's rapid flutter on them. Whereas WWV 15 megahertz is strong, hearing WWVH as well, but not fading as much. So very interesting stuff, this field that we're in. And looking forward to some cold weather coming up the end of the week. We're supposed to finally go below 0, perhaps even below 10 below. But we haven't had any real cold weather yet this year. And I think it's only going to be for one night. But anyway, I like cold weather. I'm looking forward to it. Back to net.
Well, thank you for that, David. Next is James Wolford, KG4DSG.
Evening, Dylan and the group. Just listening in as usual. Ran into a problem at work and I was wondering if this group has any suggestions. I've run into a problem where I need to actually script some serial communications. And the thing I've fallen back on at this point is ancient Kermit. If somebody knows something more recent that works, I'd be glad to hear your suggestions. Kermit works, but it's very old. With that, back to the net.
Okay, well, thank you. And then next we have Jay Schwartz, WB8SBI.
Well, howdy, everybody. Good evening. Not a whole lot new going up here in the metropolitan Detroit area. Just bundling up for another cold snap where we're looking at wind chills somewhere around -5 degrees Fahrenheit for the next several nights. So otherwise, not a whole heck of a lot. Take care, everybody. 7-3, and we'll catch you later on down the log, and looking forward to the Hamside conference.
Okay, well, thank you, Jay. And then we have Jim, K4BSE.
Good evening, all. Well, not a whole lot going on here right now. I've been tied up on non-ham projects pretty much recently. I'm hoping SRQ in the 17.2 kilohertz station in Sweden, I think it is supposed to be doing some transmissions next month, and looking to see if I can't rig up something to try to hear those. Back to net, K4BSE.
I believe it's 2 weeks from today.
Something like that, yes.
It's the February 13th.
Sounds right.
Okay, and then next we have Joe Hobart.
Good evening, Dylan and the net. Well, we're still dealing with 60 inches of snow out here. So it's kind of taking up a lot of my time and energy. But the grape is plugging along. Haven't seen anything really unusual, except there have been some extremes during daylight and evening. So I have some of that. I have seen some of that. And we've had 1 0 degree night here in Flagstaff. It gets pretty chilly up here in the mountains. Thank you, Dylan.
You're welcome, and thank you for your report. So next we have Jonathan Rizzo, KC3EEY.
Hi, everybody. It's been a fairly busy week for me. Our local amateur radio club had their winter field day event on Saturday, which was quite fun. I brought my VLF receivers for show and tell. I was talking to the guys about VLF. I didn't get a chance to go on the air, but I had a lot of fun nonetheless. They were building radio kits too, so I took part in that. One of the club members happened upon a bunch of DigiKey parts, resistors and capacitors, different sorts of components, and we were talking about it, and we were going to use that as the club supply of electronic parts. So if a club member needs some sort of electronic component or components, then that would be used for the club members to build their project. So that's a nice little thing that that the club could do, and we could encourage more technical projects and building electronic projects, which will be really good for the club. I also work with Nathaniel on the VLF server. What we did was we tried to install the great plotting software, but unfortunately the Ubuntu update servers were down, so we couldn't download a lot of packages. It looks like they're back up, and I was able to install Git. But we were able to get it running, and I was able to access the Jupyter Notebook server over SSH. So once we get the plotting software running, then I'm going to be running plots on certain dates to see if solar flares can be seen in both the grape data and the VLF data. So that's a nice, or at least this way we could kind of combine grape data and VLF data and correlate a single event. So that'll be really good for the cause of the VLF system. And I've also been doing some experimentation, well, maybe playing around with some spheric analysis. I always find it interesting and enjoyable to kind of pick apart spherics and look at their different sorts of signal properties. I was talking with Jerry Krieger on the HAMSI and list about a lightning detection system and about detecting or determining whether the stroke was cloud to ground or intra-cloud. So he was talking about some ideas he had for identifying spherics primarily in the upper frequencies. I'm interested in knowing if it's possible to somewhat accurately identify spherics, whether they came from a cloud to ground or intercloud stroke. But I was going through some of the signal processing chains with VLFRX tools, and I want to kind of play around more with that. And I'm also working on stuff for HAMSI and a non-radio related. I received 2 ground motion sensors. Not sure how to pronounce the company's name. It begins with a G. It's the 40T model. It's the 32nd. Its bandwidth is 50 hertz to 30 seconds, and I'm looking forward to getting it connected to a digitizer and running on Earthworm software to see if I could detect earthquakes and microseisms. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have. Back to the net.
Awesome. That's really cool, Jonathan. Okay, so next we have Todd Christel, 80 RR.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I was able to play Winter Field Day on Saturday and Sunday. I put up a active receive loop. I have a vertical antenna in the backyard, and they're kind of noisy, and so I put up an active receive loop, and it helped my reception quite a bit. So it was fun doing that, just to play with that and seeing the difference. I was hoping that Scotty was going to be on here and get a line on a couple of magnetometers and upgrade my DRF, get some magnetometers on it, but it's like 15 degrees out there, so that could probably not wait another week or 2. I don't even know if my hole is thawed out anymore that I dug a year and a half ago. And Bill, if you want me to upgrade my Ubuntu, it keeps complaining and it wants to upgrade. If you want me to upgrade it, and I have a PFSense firewall that has a GPS disciplined NTP server that is my local NTP server, so it's pretty accurate. So so anytime you want to play with that, let me know, and I'd be happy to help out. So that's about it. Back to net.
Awesome. Well, next, last, we have Gilman Kim, KD2MCR.
Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, I've been working on the magnetometer data portal. So now we have a computer science student on board to integrate the data processing routine into the server that Bill Engelke is running right now. So yeah, a student is on board. We're moving along, so hopefully we can show some useful, user-friendly data portal where people can fiddle with pretty soon. So that's all. Back to net.
Okay, sweet. Anyone that I missed that hasn't had their turn yet?
Did you get Tom in?
5EG.
Oh, hi, good evening, Dylan and the group. Let's see. I've been struggling trying to get air transportation to Scranton. I've failed so far. I'll give it another try tomorrow. No, can't make anything connect through. So still working on that.
Can you get to Newark or Philly?
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I can get into Newark late at night, and that's
okay.
the best I've been able to get so far.
So Newark's 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So you could rent a car and drive if you wanted.
Yeah, I'll probably do that. The best air connection I could get was 21 hours and having 2 sub 40-minute connections.
Oh,
so
man.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
This week, I'm still waiting for the binary commands to program the GPS. So I did a local fork of the Tangerine software, and I've started working on the next test phase 1B. And that test phase tries to burst a 16 kilo word sample set from the receiver as time contiguous samples, and then let the controller move all of those at a leisurely pace over to the receiver. The easiest way was to put in a DMA controller and a descriptor RAM for the DMA controller. So I put that in and synthesized it and compiled it. Unfortunately, adding that to 6 or 7% breaks timing on the Ethernet controller. And so I'm going to need Scotty's help to figure that out. I suspect the brute force approach isn't going to work too well. Going to have to try something a little more subtle that uses less area. The current target's at 49% FPGA utilization, and it just completely breaks the gigabit Ethernet timing. So going to come up with a different approach. I think it is related to the descriptor RAM. It seems like the RAM is in a part of the FPGA that's used by other things. And so it seems to be harmful on timing. So maybe there's some other approach with logic instead of RAM for DMA examples. The DMA approach was nice in that it's pretty quick to prototype, pretty quick to throw together. And so if you can do it, experimenting in alternate configurations are easier for folks to do. So that's, I think, a desirable approach for a research project. And lastly, originally ordered in September of 2021, I finally got my 24-port Ethernet switch with 10 gig uplinks. So that's been a real chore trying to get any hardware. So it's in, installed, and working. So some good news this week. Back to the group.
That's really good, Tom. Awesome. Okay, just wanted to make sure again. Anyone that I missed?
Did you get Dave?
Yeah, you haven't gotten KD0EAG.
I don't really have anything to share. So I'll just let it.
Okay, and I guess again, anyone that I missed? No one? Or everyone kept track of that? Thank you for those who kept track of, help keep track of that, who I missed. And thank you all for everyone who contributed to the net. I guess I will go left. So we finally got our Starlink system up and running, and so far it's been really good. Actually been able to have some good internet finally. Then also going to get this off of an auction, hopefully. And basically what I will plan on doing with that is hopefully hooking up the speaker and mic up to a plug I can put into a ham radio, or a radio that I have, and hopefully being able to set it up to where I can use that as a speaker and mic for my radio, my HF radio. So I think it'd be a fun little project to have on my desk, something original, hopefully, but we'll see. Don't have anything else other than I haven't received anything from Scotty yet on the boards for the SD Tangerine. So I haven't been able to work on that yet.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure, Nathaniel, but have you gotten emails from me before? Because I'm not so sure I've been able to
Scotty?
get out to anyone. Well, no, like
From you?
I've sent emails to you before, and I can't remember if I've sent emails to someone else. I've sent one to Scotty also, and I've never gotten anything back before.
Yeah, I don't remember I know I've emailed you. I
And
don't.
I did get it, but I know I've sent you 2 emails before, and I sent Scotty 1, and it doesn't really seem like anyone's been getting my emails, at least.
Yeah,
I've been
I'm
able to
looking.
send stuff out on the Hamsci forums, but
Right.
that's been about it.
Yeah, I just did a search in my email box. I don't see you come up. Even sending it to nathaniel.frizzell@scranton.edu.
Let me make sure that that was the email I sent it to.
I check my junk email too. My junk email is notorious for
So
let me put it this way. I've had
the
messages
email.
from the University Provost office go to the Scranton junk email folder.
Oh shoot.
That should tell you something.
Oh, it was nathaniel.frizzell.edu.
At scranton.edu.
And that was the first one. That was
Wow.
the second one, and the first one was the same email. And
Why
then
don't you?
Scotty, I sent one to his, and that one's the Scotty@tonks.com.
It should work. Why don't you try forwarding it to me again? And you can send it to the nathaniel.frizzell@scranton.edu. And also you can send it to nafrizzell@gmail.com. I put them both in the chat.
Let me make
I
sure
just
that I get
texted
something.
I just texted Scotty to ask if he was around because
Okay.
so
Yeah, that one looks correct. So I'm not sure why it's in sent. It says that I sent it, but you never received it. So, oh my gosh, the joys of technology.
Nathaniel, do you guys use Outlook
we do
in
use Outlook.
Microsoft? Yeah,
Yes.
the Microsoft server has been known to swallow certain people.
I know, it's awful. And then I go to complain to the IT department and they're like, our hands are tied.
Dylan, do you have
There's still
another email address you could send from?
Yes, I do.
Try that.
I'm getting to Nathaniel's Gmail real quick. I sent that. We'll see if
Like here's an important one that just went to my junk mail.
speed,
I've asked my IT department if I can just turn off my junk mail folder, and they're like, no. Their answer is like, no, it serves an important purpose. I'm like, yes, it serves the important purpose of removing emails I actually need to read.
Holy crud.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
think
pull up
1 in
my-
100 is actual junk. It comes into
Yeah.
my junk folder.
Okay. Let's.
Bill, I wanted to ask, to get the GPS working on the Raspberry Pi with Ubuntu, you have to disable the console port, the console serial port.
Right, yeah.
Were you able to actually disable it?
Well, as it turns out, serial 0 isn't there at all. It's more than disabled, it's been deleted. So I thought maybe it's been switched over to serial 1, and I went through and disabled that as required, and it's just non-responsive. And there's several other problems that occur with it. It's too long of a litany to go into. I spent a whole day working on it and finally punted because it's not worth the trouble.
Okay, I got a message from Mr. Disorganized. That's you, right? Okay. So that worked.
You didn't get one from Gmail, did you? To your Gmail?
Did I get one to my Gmail?
I sent one from my Gmail to your Gmail.
Okay, yes, I got one. I got one to both my Scranton address and to my Gmail address.
But each one's a different email, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm gonna message you through the edu.edu,
Yeah.
I'll send you it through my Proton. But if it's to the Gmail, then it's gonna be through my Gmail. So
Okay, yeah. So
that's my main one.
the Proton mail made it through to Scranton, but the Gmail one did not get through to Scranton for whatever reason.
I will keep that in mind for next time.
That sounds good. Yeah. So
And then I'll also send an email to Scotty too.
yeah, definitely ping him again. So I just sent him a text message and he is, I haven't heard back from him, but I think so. Dylan here wants to work on building like a case for the Tangerine SDR. I think Scotty is really the only person who can really give you the information you need in order to do that. Does that sound correct to everybody? Yeah, I think we really need to get Scotty engaged.
From what I've heard from Scotty,
Mhm.
he is the only one who is in contact with the guy who created the 3D design of the PCB board.
Yeah, I think Scotty's the person who has all the real information on this project. So I will keep trying to text him and engage him on this. So yeah, because I really want you to work on this. Are you over 18? Okay, good. That
I'm 20.
Perfect. That as long as you're over 18, that removes a lot of complications. Great. Okay. Yeah, so I texted Scotty. I'll try to follow up on him this week and I will be in touch as soon as I find anything. And you should definitely keep emailing too. And if you want, you can go ahead. Yeah, I'll talk to you too about making reservations for the Hamsci workshop too. So we can go ahead with
And that is, I'm not sure if at this point I will be able to make it, but currently I don't have a job. If I do get a job within now to then, I might not be able to make it, but it depends on
okay
when that happens. So everything's still up in the air. But for now, I do believe I'll still be able to go.
I hope you get a job, but I also hope that you can make it to the Hamsci workshop.
I hope I can eat my cake and have it too. Have my cake and
That's
eat
right.
it too. There we go.
Yes, that would be the best thing. And Jonathan, I did see that the Ubuntu servers went up again too. So I can hang on with you after here to work on trying to get that analysis code up and running again.
Okay, yeah. I don't know what you have to update, but Git is installed. I was able to clone the repository. It's in the code directory, so it should be able to be built and installed. Hopefully, I guess as long as all the package dependencies are satisfied.
Yes. That sounds good. So yeah, after this meeting, we can take a look at that together.
Okay.
Or if there's not much to talk about, we can work on it during this meeting.
Oh, Bill, when I get a chance, I'll have Nathaniel set up his grape with the added fruit GPS, and I'll get everything working. Because I was able to get it working on Raspbian without any issue. That's what's keeping my VLF system timed. So once we get it, because that was on the list of things to do, was put together the grape with the added fruit GPS. And yeah, once we get around to actually doing that, then I will get it running, and I'll document what I do. And the hope is that what I document should work for the next version of Ubuntu. That's why that I don't use it. Actually, I secretly hate Ubuntu, but
Well, what version of Ubuntu have you been working with? Because I'm trying to get it working on the latest version, which is 22.04.1. And there's been a lot of changes and some of which affected the serial ports.
Well, I've been using Raspbian. I don't use Ubuntu at all. In fact, I avoid it like the plague if I could. Raspbian always worked for me. Didn't have any issues, and a lot of the published documentation on how to get things working and installed and configured, that's years old, still applies. But I don't know if you could install all the software that you need to get the grape running on a Raspbian image or not. I know, John.
That was the reason that I went to Ubuntu from Raspbian, because I can't remember what it was now, because like 2.5 years ago, but it was either H5PY or some prerequisite that you needed for digital RF, or which is H5PY is one of them. There was one or two things that wasn't available for Raspbian. I was dead in the water, so I had to drop Raspbian and go over to Ubuntu. So
I see. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know if it's available now, but anyway, still, when I get a chance to go to Nathaniel's house, we'll get it put together and get it on the network, and I'll be able to work on it from home and get it working. Because yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of changes and a lot of little things you have to do, and I'm surprised that there's no serial ports available, which there should be. But if it's not there, maybe it's some sort of config. I really don't know. But that's really all it is you have to make sure that the serial port is not in use, not used as a console port. And then once it's free, then you could use it with GPS daemon. And again, that's what I do with on my VLF system. But yeah, when we get a chance, I will work on that. That's on the list of one of the things to do, because I think grapes would definitely benefit from their NTP servers being disciplined from a Stratum 0 source. So I will work on that.
Well, since you have to put the grape or tangerine in, I mean, you have to put the device online anyway. Frankly, it seems to me, after working on it quite a bit, I can't help but feel like using the Adafruit is a bit of overkill. But, you know, I was using it because when I first worked on it, it went together and worked very smoothly. So it was pretty cool. Well, after I burned days trying to get it to work again under the latest version of Ubuntu, I thought, well, maybe NTP is good enough. And yeah, so at some point you reach a point of diminishing returns on your time availability, I guess. So
Well, right, yeah, and I understand that. But I think for collecting radio data, it's probably very important, at least when I go to correlate it with VLF data, that NTP is disciplined from a stratum 0 source, because that's how all of my VLF data is, and it's good to keep that time resolution. You know, maybe for the uses of the grape right now, that sort of time resolution isn't really all that important, especially because a lot of the data is decimated and averaged out. But I think in the end, it would be beneficial to have all grapes, grape 1 and grape 2, disciplined from GPS. Because I believe
if you can get it working, more power to you. We'll
yeah. I'm going to give it a try. Yeah, once when Nathaniel and I, when we get some time, we will put the hardware together. We'll get it put on his network, and then I could work on it at my leisure.
I think that would be really good. Because I've been wanting to get this this scrape updated to the DRF for a while, and I have not had the time to do it, but I do have the hardware. I've got the hardware, I have the SSD, so there's no reason why we can't do that. So Jonathan, do you want to, I could give you the grape that you could work on it at your home for a little while, and then you could bring it back once you think you have the software configured.
Yeah, I could probably do that.
Or if you want to work on it like on a Friday when you're here, or
well, actually, well, I could put it in my electronics or in my lab, and because there's a switch in there, I could connect it to the network. And there's a window right there, so I could hang a GPS antenna out of there. Does the Adafruit GPS have an antenna port?
Yes. I mean, it's got something that plugs in a powered external antenna.
but I do kind of agree with Bill. Like there's no real sense in spending all the effort on making the Adafruit GPS work with this thing. We're going to have perfectly adequate timestamping just using the NTP for this one. And even with doing the what do you call it? The GPS location entry, we enter the location in once and then we're good. So I don't think there's a real need to spend a lot of time trying to debug the Adafruit.
Well, I don't think it'll be that much of an issue. So I mean, I could take the hardware and I could just run it here and try it here. I really don't think that it'll be that big of an issue.
Yeah.
Jonathan, what I can do is I have a tutorial that explains how to build a grape from scratch, which I can send you a copy of, just bearing in mind that the there's a page dedicated to dealing with the serial port, which is outdated now because when I try to use it with the latest version of Ubuntu, it doesn't work. But all the rest of the instructions, if you want to try and gen up a system using the latest version of Ubuntu, I mean, on the other hand, if you can get DRF to work under Raspbian, that would be yet another possible improvement that we could adopt. So,
Well, Nathaniel, I will take the hardware from you and I will work on it here then.
Okay.
And then this way, when it's ready, I can just give it back to you and you could hook it up. Yeah, I definitely want, at least for my VLF data, I want I want to see what more accurate timing would do. So yeah, that's something I could probably set up. That's not a big deal. Because was there any other GPS options that you had thought about using other than the Adafruit?
I guess you're asking me? No.
Yeah. Okay. And there's no.
Yeah, there's the issue of getting the new radio installed. Have you ever tried installing a new radio on a Raspbian system?
No.
N4XWE has a very nice script that installs it on Ubuntu. Will it work on Raspbian? I don't know. There's easily 100 packages that are prerequisites, and if you're going to find all those for Raspbian, that's anybody's guess.
Right. Yeah. With my VLF software, I really don't need a lot of exotic packages, but so then yeah, maybe Ubuntu is probably the a best choice here due to all the package dependencies. But yeah, I'll get it. I'll work on it and get it working on Ubuntu, and I'll Nathaniel, if you have like, the magnetometer and like all of the hardware,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe I could take a caliper and I could measure out what size spacers would be adequate to make this thing a more stable sandwich. Make it something.
That sounds great. Are
Yeah.
you? Yeah, that sounds really good. So maybe we should find some time that we can meet and work on this.
Okay. Let me know. And yeah, because for people to kind of adopt these systems better, you need to have a stable like hardware platform and not just some sandwich boards, because a lot of people, they're not kind to their fragile electronics. So
Definitely not. Are you available this weekend?
Let's see. Yeah, this weekend, I believe I am completely free.
Okay.
I do have so I do have a dentist appointment on Friday, and on Sunday it's the 48th anniversary of the Murgash Amateur Radio Club, but I forget if they're having some event.
Oh wow. Yeah. I think so I've been trying to get to see my mom and sister, have them come up for a while. So I think they might be coming up on Sunday. I think that'd be the goal.
Okay.
So I think Saturday is potentially a good day for me.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty free on Saturday too, so,
Okay. Let
you
let me
know,
talk about it with Rachel, but maybe I can pencil you in to come up on Saturday.
yeah, whatever you decide, and then we can plan on, what you want me to do, and, we'll just go from there.
Okay, that sounds great. I think yeah, so I guess the thing to do would be get you everything you need. And I mean, maybe we can do this together. Try to convert the grape over to digital RF, or at least I gave you the hardware so that
Right.
you can start converting the grape over to digital RF. And then we can also check on your VLF system. And maybe we should revisit using the GPS distribution block over here, since we have that, but we haven't actually been using that.
Do you, well, we'll need some cables,
Okay.
some longer cables that
Okay.
that we could route in a way that won't get caught on anything.
Well, if we what we can do then is, if we don't have the cables we need, we can place some orders for them.
Okay, that'll work out.
That sounds really good. So
All
let
right.
me, I'll make some notes over here. So one was going to be give Jonathan grape hardware to convert to digital RF data collection. Okay. And then 2 is going to be what do you call it? 2 is going to be make progress on using GPS distribution block, which might, so that could either mean we actually use it or we just spend the time ordering some cables for it.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then you need to we can check on your VLF antenna.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
Let's see. I don't think there's anything more that we had planned on doing.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be it.
Okay. Great. So
I got it.
I'm penciling you in for 9:30.
Okay.
Great. I just sent you yeah.
I got a quick question. So
Sure.
for the design, once I get that, I was wondering if like you would want me to put certain information on the board. I was at least thinking the Hamsci logo itself, but is there like a website or something like that you'd also want me to, at least the 3D printed version, engrave or something like that onto the board?
Yeah, we'll have to think about that. So far we've been putting the Hamsci logo, the Tapper logo, and the NSF logo on there.
And then what was the last one?
The NSF, National Science Foundation.
NSF. Okay. It's www.nsf.gov, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Tapper. And then Tapper is the one with the microchip and the Joshua tree or cactus.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And then the hand side. And then is there a specific one that you would prefer for those, or just whichever one for
A
the
specific
Hamsai logo?
Hamsai logo.
Yeah.
I can send you the logo.
Okay.
Let me send that to you. You should probably put the little tangerine on there too, right?
Yeah.
See if I can find that. I know I have it.
I'm just gonna take a little print screen off of my computer.
Yeah, I have some. Yeah, here, look at this one.
I realized I wasn't even saving it.
Probably want to put ARDC on there as well. So you could do Hamsai, Tapper, Tangerine, ARDC. And then I'm sure there's a bunch of universities that would love to have their logo on it too. Scranton, Case West, well, Scranton, Alabama. Maybe NJIT and Case Western. So if we start with Hamsai, Tapper, Tangerine, NSF, and ARDC. I think that's a good start. You can, if you right click on this, you can save it as a PNG, Dylan. I can put the link to.
Oh, that one right there. Okay.
Yeah, I'll send this to you in the chat. There.
Okay, I think I got it. And then I have to add the so NSF and what was the last one? ARDC, that's what it was.
Yes. And you can get, if you just Google NSF logos and ARDC logos, you should be able to find what you need.
Okay, amateur radio digital communications, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, I will add those to the design. Awesome. That is what I was looking for.
That's excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I think that's pretty, I think we're good for today then. Anything else? It's about 10 o'clock. I might switch over to working with Jonathan on the grape analysis. Anyone who would like to is welcome to stay and watch, ask questions or chat. You heading out, Bill?
73.
Thanks, 73.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Yep, 7-3, everybody. Have a good evening. Stay